Welcome back to the Boys in Motion podcast. We are your hosts, Tyler, Brian, and Andrew, here with episode 26, Vacationing and Travel Tips for Athletes. Whether you're jetting off for the holidays for a well-deserved break or squeezing in workouts on a work trip, we've got you covered this week with practical tips to keep your fitness on track while still enjoying the journey.
Let's be honest, traveling can throw a wrench in your routine and totally throw you off course. From weird gym setups to dodgy food options, staying consistent is not always easy. But the good news is that with the right mindset and a bit of planning, you can keep training and maybe even come back stronger and happier.
It's true. We've all had travel derail our plans at some point in time, but it doesn't have to be a setback, even though sometimes you think it will be. Stick with us, and we'll show you our favorite tips and tricks, gear, and strategies to balance adventure, fitness without losing your mind or those gains.
Let's kick it off with talking about the types of travel and how each of them have kind of different challenges and things you need to work around based on the reason why you're traveling. The first type, leisure travel. This is the type we all love, whether it's for a vacation, you're going to a friend or family wedding, or just a personal getaway. This is where you're really just going to have a good time, but with that big itinerary that you might have on this dream holiday, you might get itinerary overload and you might be struggling to fit in that workout or exercise between all those fun activities that you've saved up and have been looking forward to.
For sure. And I think the challenge with leisure travel is you're right. There seems to just be so much going on, even though your days are wide open. One thing that I found that works for me is an early morning workout is the best way to kick off the day when you're traveling. And it's always nice to kind of have something that you've accomplished in the day, start your day off right with a little bit of exercise, even switch things up. It doesn't need to be the regular things you were doing, but it is always nice to squeeze in a workout while you're on vacation. It feels a little special to me.
It's also awesome to just go, like you said, go out before, let's say, anybody else is kind of up and about. You get your own thing done. You kind of at the same time have time for yourself, and then you still get that routine in. You still get your, let's say, your miles or your workout if you're changing things up. So it's great. Even if it's small, it's something that you accomplished in your day.
Yeah, and if you're traveling with a group, I think it's especially key to get some alone time, be able to spend some time with yourself or maybe somebody else who wants to join you for a run or a workout. But it is just a breath of fresh air that can kind of break up whatever the vacation is that you're on. The second thing, and when this episode gets released, I'm actually going to be in this type of travel, which is work travel. And this has its own unique challenges. Unlike leisure, where you have your full days open, but you seem to stack it with fun activities, work travel, you still need to balance work at the same time. So this might mean that you've got long meetings, sometimes networking or other events that will go into the evening. And you often are catching early flights or trains, which make another challenging break in your day where you can't be exercising. So it's certain that you need to kind of hack your way into finding the time to exercise.
Yeah, the tricky bit about work travel in my experience is you have your normal work day, but when you're traveling for work, going meeting, networking with people, potentially going to events or dinners, your workday often gets stretched extra long and is a little bit more unpredictable than normal. So you do need to be pretty strategic. So if you have a small gap before, after, or even in between events, you kind of need to be quick about getting in that workout and maybe be a little bit more efficient about what you're doing and not just go on that leisurely run or that long workout where you're taking lots of rest between sets.
So you mean I can't go for a nice 22-mile long run middle of the week?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. And I think, again, similar to when you're on a leisure holiday, those early mornings are, again, some block time. As long as you're not traveling that day, oftentimes there's not really anything that's going on before 8 a.m. So if you're on a multi-day work trip, sometimes that's a good period for you to target your workout time.
Another big thing when you're walking around town, maybe different environment, different office or city, just keeping consistent with that training program, let's say through the week. Like we were saying, try to fit in what we can without sacrificing too much. Keep consistent, but at the same time compromise when you have to, right? With those long days and those extra meetings.
Yeah, and I think this point on staying consistent is really, really hard because when you're in the habit of being at home, working, doing whatever you do, you at least have it as a part of your routine. But oftentimes travel comes with chaos, and that can really break the routines and the micro habits that you have set up around exercise in your day-to-day life. And I often find, not for me, is exercise hard to get back to after a trip, but I know a lot of people struggle with that. And in addition, diet is something else that for myself has fallen off after a trip. I always have to kind of manage that back to a healthy level after a bunch of indulgence over a trip. But you're right. It's about the little victories, just trying to keep that habit up. Yeah, fitting in a 10-15 minute run on a treadmill, if that's all you can fit in, rather than a 10-mile long run, is sufficient, and it kind of, keeps you on track.
I couldn't agree more. I know when I'm on vacation, normally not a big dessert guy, but when I'm on vacation, I love indulging in some nice desserts, some nice sweets, and then sometimes you get back to your normal routine and you just find yourself having those desserts after every meal too. So it's, yeah, pulling it back once you get back is good. But one thing that can help you set yourself up for success and that consistency while you're traveling is to plan like a pro going into that trip. So if you, depending where you're going, if you like to go to the gym, researching hotel gyms, local gyms, fitness classes, if you want to get out and do some running, looking for nearby trails, maybe some attractions in the city or place you're going that you would like to see if it's a work trip, or maybe some off itinerary locations you would like to see that maybe everyone in your group isn't interested in. This is a great time to squeeze that in and to do kind of a nice local running tour where you can go nice and easy and see some nice sights and take in the local scenery.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of apps that can support this. Like Strava and their segments and routes can kind of help you find out where other people are running in that city. I often on my leisure vacations have an aim to do something in nature, and All Trails is a fantastic app for finding great hikes in nearby locations. So that's something else that I rely on. And Ty, I don't know about you with your Garmin, but Garmin Connect also has popular route options as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. With the Garmin Connect, it's the same thing as Strava. You can find heat maps and the popular routes there that people usually take. I find that good too for like safety wise, because sometimes you don't know the let's say what area you're in a city, and if it's a local trail that you see is pretty well looked after and kept, you could definitely run or ride in that trail without having any issues. So that's also a good, I use that for good option to know where to go, let's say, to be safe.
And you're right, safety is a big concern. If you're traveling in a new place, you might not know where the rougher parts are. You might not know, if you go take the wrong turn, you're going through a bunch of elevation that could just wreck you, and you'll struggle to get back. And even, yeah, visibility, if you travel somewhere where it's not light as long as you usually expect, all of that can be a factor. So it's just important to, yeah, navigate safely around the new environments.
I want to give a little shout out here. It's a tool that I've recently started using, and that's actually Strava Premium. And I got it recently and have started playing around with the Strava maps and route creation. And it's actually been really nice for a few reasons. One, you can put stuff like, oh, I want to go this distance, and it will give you popular routes that people are doing or good routes. You can say, oh, I want a hilly route, a flat route, and a bunch of different other filters. But then on the safety piece, Strava also has a night map feature. So if you are running at night or early morning, you can actually see when are the popular times for certain routes. So if there is a safety concern, even if it's, I don't use Strava Premium, but you're going and you're kind of feeling a little uneasy, maybe activate it for a month during that trip, and that can kind of set your mind at ease and also give you some nice local routes instead of just kind of like going left and right and maybe not seeing everything you want to see.
Yeah, I love that tip. I do know that Strava, when they released that, they put like something in the disclaimer as like these are not to be used for safety or something like that because they didn't want to be held liable. But I think running where other people run at night is a perfect example of using technology to make your workouts better. Another thing I've done is found like a famous athlete who might be in the vicinity and see where they train. I know when I was most recently in Mexico City, I saw Valtteri Bottas, the Formula One driver, was running around this certain park. So I went and did it the following day because I was visiting for F1 and frig, I wish I would have seen him, but he does the same thing in Montreal. You see exactly where he's cycling around, and those are fantastic cycling routes.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought of that. Good call. I'll have to try that out this summer.
So moving on to something that I hold near and dear to my heart is those travel days. They make for a specific challenge because you're generally out of the home and yeah, you need to kind of plan ahead, especially your nutrition and hydration.
Always got to stay hydrated. My main tip on ever being like, let's say, outside my normal living quarters, always have some electrolyte tablets with me. Either salt pills or the Noon tablets. I just keep some in my backpack and just pop some, put some in the water bottle while I'm either traveling or have a busy day at work. So I know that dehydration is a big thing and could really tamper on the beginnings of your travel day and let's say week. So staying on top of that will just make everything that much better and keep you ready and primed up to get on those feet and go running if you have to.
Yeah, and this is just an extra reminder to always have that travel water bottle with you. If you're left without one, you'll potentially have to pay a lot of money to get this water bottle that you can then reuse. But if you always have one, there's a lot of public fountains or fountains in the airport. And just on the electrolyte piece, I know we're all a big fan of some of our homemade concoctions, but for travel, especially air travel, I tend to go for packaged options, and that's what I would recommend. Because sometimes, just random baggies of white powders isn't always a good idea in airports. So maybe opt for your stashes of some Element or something like that, Noon tabs like Tyler mentioned.
The good stuff.
Yeah, you're traveling after all. You got to have the finer things. On the same, like I traveled quite a bit, a lot of backpacking when I was a poor student. And one thing that I have as a habit is actually packing food on my travel days, especially for air travel as well. When you're an endurance athlete, the amount of calories that you're consuming is usually far beyond what other people are consuming. So those little meals that you get on the plane just don't cut it. And when you're sitting in an airport for hours and hours, you're going to need to eat. And often airport food is not always the healthiest. So my recommendation is fill a bag. You can, if you don't have the room in your main bag, you can always bring like a plastic bag from home or the superstore on the plane with you, and they'll never give you a problem if it's filled with food. So I'm generally packing some protein powder in a baggie, of course, some bars, trail mix even, and then I love fruit. Like nothing wrong with a few bananas in the bag as long as you consume it before customs. If you're traveling international, I've never had a problem with that. So yeah, just pack some healthy food, some snacks so that you can enjoy, and oftentimes a little bit of a sweet treat as well.
That's some good tips and tricks. I'm gonna have to use that on my next multi-hour flight, that's for sure. So that's great to know. Put that in the bank and put it in the tummy.
Oh yeah, and I think it's the same thing for long drives. Like travel doesn't mean you're in the air, like in the car as well. At least you have the option to like stop at superstores, but oftentimes if you're driving, the convenient options are just quick stops at fast food. So pick fast food joints that have some healthier options. Love Subway, or just bring your own food. Just a big Costco run before and just consume.
Get the nitrates in.
Love it. And yeah, speaking of what we're packing, and I think this for me is one of the tips and tricks that I've gotten down to a science, is those pro packing hacks and trying to be as efficient as possible so that you're not lugging around a huge suitcase as you're traveling and you're being very mindful on those things you're being. And I think the name of the game here is multi-purpose items. that you can use for activities or for just going out and doing things. This can get a little trickier if you're doing business travel and you need to be either more formal or business casual so that may complicate it a bit, but really focus on you bringing those dual purpose items like one pair of shoes that is kind of your nicer pair of running shoes that looks nice, is like casual looking, not those bright colors, but you can also take it out for that small run or going to the gym. So that's just a few tips.
Poor Tyler's not going to be able to bring any shoes. He's just going to be
Too bad.
barefoot.
Too bad.
This guy only knows about multicolor shoes.
Another tip in this section before we move on is I love merino products for traveling. I love bringing a merino base layer t-shirt and I love merino socks. Both, if you bring some laundry soap, you can just kind of wash them on the go and just dry them in your hotel room or wherever you're staying. And they also wick moisture really well, so they're just kind of all around a great material to wear when you're traveling.
Yeah. I don't know the last time I actually traveled with a suitcase. I'm always just a single backpack and go. And the Rascal is the same way. And we spent over 10 days in Guatemala, and we also had another trip out to California. And both those trips, we did mega hikes in Yosemite and up a volcano. And we also spent time in cities, going to nice dinners and that sort of thing. And we had everything we needed, versatile and sleek attire that could double on the hiking trails and that sort of thing. So it is possible. You just need to, compromise a little bit, but it will end up making travel a lot smoother, a lot easier, and you don't risk losing a full bag with $1,000 of clothes in it.
I have to do a packing workshop because I'm in the middle of doing that right now, and we're struggling to get a few outfits in the friggin' suitcase. So I'll hit you up for some packing tips, some pro boys in motion packing tips.
Yeah, I always love taking a picture before going on a trip of everything I'm throwing in my bag. So I'll send a few of those your way. And that actually might be a really good idea for the carousel post for this episode, is just a nice packing photo of all our gear.
Yeah, but little pro tip for you, Tyler. You gotta always make sure you have room for your high heels, the Alpha Flies. So you always gotta leave some room just in case you find a hot deal wherever you're going. So you need to make sure there's at least room for one pair of high heels in that bag of yours.
Oh,
You never
I
know.
always
Brazil
got
might
room
have
for
some
those.
hot deals, some hot Nike deals.
Oh, I always got room for those bad boys. You never know when you're gonna get a nice deal on the AF. So next interesting topic here is jet lag survival tips when traveling. Do you guys have any tips and tricks for some of these rookie men like me that have never done any travel involving jet lag?
Yeah, so jet lag can be a challenge on your energy levels as you adjust your sleep schedules and all sorts of stuff like that. One tip that I've discussed with my parents, because they were just traveling abroad, was actually adjusting your sleep schedule prior to leaving on that vacation to kind of find the middle ground between your current time zone and where you're traveling to. So for example, Europe is a few hours ahead of us. So actually waking up earlier in the morning and going to bed earlier before you go on travel can really help minimize the effect of jet lag. And also trying to sleep while you're in transit is also a good tip, because those days are just draining as well.
And Tyler, to help set you up for success, you are going to a place that has a pretty different climate than where you live right now. So what are you thinking as far as kind of getting ready for that, and thinking of, you're going from this cold, your body has started to adapt to the cold, and now you're going to shock it with some heat training. How are you going to adapt your training and just kind of your exercise while you're there?
Blow a
Love
heater
it.
at my face at all times. I'm just getting nice and warm, wearing warm clothes at all times, just trying to get real sweaty. Just get heat adapted before I have to get scuffed in the heat and in the sand.
Yeah, it's a huge risk. I think it's easier to go to a cold climate and just wrap yourself in more layers, gloves, and stay warmed up inside when you're on those vacations than it is to go to a hot destination and expect yourself to perform outside. On a trip to Mexico, when I first started running, it was winter here, and I was able to run like a 5K pretty quick. And I went outside immediately first day after arriving. It's like 34 degrees outside. After 1.5K, total bonk. I had a full yard sale of all my gear. I lost my key. I lost the water bottle that I had, so I came back just like a broken man from that run. So I would definitely caution people from biting off too much on the first day when you get to a hot climate. But another great thing is just using the beginning and end of the day when the sun isn't out in full force. So morning sessions and late night sessions are really good.
Luckily, we do live somewhere that does get pretty warm in the summer. So I think it's just remember back a lot of the things you did to make those sessions bearable in the summer and use those, even though your body and heart rate has gotten used to those cold weather freebie gains. But yeah, Brian, I remember seeing that run on Strava and I saw the comment and I went straight to the heart rate and it was just zoom right from the beginning. It was nice.
And again, running on sand is not easy either. So it was just a full bonk. And I ran directly away from the place that I was staying. So when the bonk occurred, I was as far as I was going to be from the place I was staying. So just bad planning all around. Don't repeat my mistakes. Be smart.
Yeah, I will try not to repeat, but yeah, I'll be sanding it, so we'll see. I'll do some couple barefooters and a couple Bondi X mode.
I love that you're allocating a little bit of room in your bag for the carbons. That seems pretty essential for performance.
Oh, I think I'm wearing those in the airport so I could get speedy from one wing to another. So I'm not late. You know how I am with time. I just can't figure that thing out still, so I'm gonna wear the Bondis at all times so I could just get around speedy.
That's true. If your flight departure is anything like a My Whoosh lobby, it's going to be 50-50 if you make it on time. So another great thing that I think travel brings is the opportunity to kind of do some active recovery but vacation style and sort of have some variety in the things that you're doing. So Tyler, you're going on a beachy vacation. Some great things that you could explore doing are things like beach yoga, maybe beach volleyball, some paddleboarding if the seas aren't rough. Of course, swimming would be real nice, or even some scenic walks with Juicy on the beach.
Sunset walks, yeah, I might have to try that once or twice, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll be near the beach, so plenty of time for all of those activities. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep the fans posted on Strava.
Love it. I'm excited to see maybe I wonder if we'll get any new sports in your Strava log. I hope you can at least get one new sport while you're in Brazil to just get all the people excited and then maybe you'll get everyone on the hook for that because I know when I see the Niagara boys playing pickleball, it gets me real jealous, and then I had to start playing tennis because I wanted to join in on the fun.
That'll be my new challenge. Try to get a new sport in, log it on Strava for the fans.
I love it. Now, something that I really, really like about traveling is that oftentimes people who don't exercise might actually be interested in doing a little bit of exercise. So something that I really enjoy as one of the fit people in the group that I'm generally in is actually turning workouts that I'm doing into bonding moments with the people that I'm traveling with. So asking friends or family to actually join for a run or a hike or some local excursion like a bike tour. I think those are great ways to get other people to enjoy exercise if they don't typically do it because they're in an environment that's just like very fun and that sort of thing. I think for leisure travel that's great. Andrew, one of the favorite moments that I had on a recent trip we went on was just literally going out for a run with you. Like a lot of other people were doing other things that day, and we just boom went out the door, and that's one of the key memories I have of that trip.
Yeah, and I love that too, and you can just kind of squeeze it in. If people are doing things that, maybe you're not necessarily interested as much, just finding either just yourself or some friends that you're with that also are like, I don't necessarily want to do this thing. Just do something simple. Go for a run, go for a hike, even just like a nice long walk and explore the city or the town you're in. A good way to get moving and then just chit chat and catch up with some friends or family.
Yeah, I'm totally in for this. Some of my favorite memories are just with like, another friend just going for a nice little jaunt, quick little run. Usually you see some sights that, let's say regularly you wouldn't see otherwise. It's away from those main streets, those main attractions. It's more like, going into some parks or some cool trails, seeing some nice views. So, and then usually going back to that city, I'll be like, oh, I went running here with so and so. Or even if you're alone, it's a good way to make memories and memorable as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's something, Andrew, you said a long time ago that really resonated with me, was like exploring a city on foot when you're running allows you to really understand and get to know that city, like driving in a car or a taxi doesn't, because you're on the streets with the people, and it's a great way. Even like your videos, Ty, of you biking in Montreal, that's a perfect example of how to really enjoy a city the right way.
Yeah, if I'm exploring a new city, I'm guaranteed at least doing one. Just I'm adventuring runs, often either when I'm doing work travel or with friends and they're off doing something that I didn't want to do. That's the time that I try to go see all the things that I kind of wanted to see, or even like run to like a further away food spot that I just wanted to try or something. I'll run, grab some food, grab a little mid-run snack, and then run back and see some sights. It's wonderful.
Frig, I'm salivating. There was this beautiful cafe in Mexico City that I went for a run, found this, ate there. It was beautiful, and then brought my parents back the next day because it was so good. So you can find some real gems just being on the 2 Foot Express. Also, with making memories on a trip, there are bucket list races or dream events that you can target. So combining travel with achievement is awesome. I remember Mark's bachelor party. I just threw my bike in the van and targeted going up Whiteface Mountain in Lake Placid on the bike, and it was such a good, memorable experience. And it's one of the main things that I defined that trip by, was actually going on that nice ride. So you can squeeze that kind of thing, or you can make your whole trip about that certain event.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we do something similar where we kind of plan specific trips to do endurance activity, and that is our portaging trips, where kind of we have a group of friends where we go and go portaging, go canoeing. And the nice thing about that, it's not necessarily some crazy exercise. I mean, it still is a good amount of exercise. You're moving your body all day, but it is pretty low intensity. You're there with friends, and it doesn't necessarily feel like, going out and doing some crazy hard challenge. It's more about the journey, the adventure, and being with friends. But I find as you get more into endurance sports and into these things, you tend to want to gravitate towards kind of combining that leisure vacation time with just doing maybe a bit more casual activity, but it's not taking a step back from your goals. It can just kind of be a complement, a little rest, but you're still doing something productive, which is kind of cool.
Fun. I think of most of these things, we're doing something outside the norm, and it's just a bunch of fun with a bunch of boys. It's real nice.
Yeah, Tyler, you're target number one for an addition to the portaging trip. I want to see you out there, no canoe, just swimming alongside all the canoes. It's perfect. You don't even need a canoe partner. You just need you with a friggin' watertight bag strapped to your core.
Hey, get me a buoy and a swim cap, and I'm in. I'm totally in. If there's no alligators in there, I'm good to go.
Very nice. And I think outside of portaging, some other great trip ideas to really center your vacation around an endurance challenge are things like multi-day hiking trips or bike packing trips. Bike packing looks superb. Or some even more maybe like technical mountaineering type of trips. Or if you're not so interested in that sort of thing where you're maybe tackling a lot, but you want to stay on a beach, things like scuba camps or surf camps are also really great options where you can still sit on a beach, get your tan on, but still be doing something that requires you to move your body.
That is very true. I think in the next season, I'll be looking at a couple training camp options for that complement the training season and the big blocks that are incoming. So that'll be real fun.
About things that are a little bit more camps, but that's nice too for freaks.
Same thing.
Like
Same
you,
thing.
Tyler.
Freaks me out.
But on the other side of that, where this is I would say a little bit more leisurely and more about the fun and adventure. There's also just going for more of those list races and events as kind of dream destinations and these like big achievements you want to reach. I know Tyler, you love traveling for Ironmans and you're kind of starting to do more of that. And I am on the world majors journey. So I've done all of the US majors so far and have kind of turned each one of those races into nice city travel at New York, Boston, and Chicago, and they're all amazing trips in their own way. But in 2025, I'll be going to Berlin, doing my first Europe or overseas major, and that's going to be kind of a bit more of a major trip where I'm going for 2 weeks, starting at the Berlin Marathon, and then heading down to party a little bit and to have a little bit of fun at Oktoberfest because they just happen to be a week apart. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Both on the hitting a goal side, but also having fun with family and friends because there are quite a few people that are going to come out and support, which is awesome.
That's going to be so great. Can't wait to see that. That's fall 2025, right?
Yep, in September. Yeah, so and it just happens to be on my birthday. The marathon. So I got in on the perfect year. It's meant to be.
That's so cool. That I can't think of a better trip for you than a marathon on your birthday followed by some good carb recovery at Oktoberfest. It has the Andrew stamp of a trip right there. That's awesome.
That is amazing. I know, like you were saying, revolving races around those destinations are just awesomeness and just great to visit the city in a different light, not just vacationing, right? So it's fun.
Now, Brian, I have a question for you. Tyler and I I've kind of fully dipped my whole leg. Tyler's starting to dip the toe. But for you, what would be that kind of big bucket list race that you maybe aren't thinking about signing up right this moment, but would like love to do at some point?
Oh, Andrew, I'm glad you asked. But I'm going to spin this on its head and actually got a hot take for you. And mine is that vacations are also the perfect excuse to skip workouts. We've been talking all episode about why you can travel and do all your fitness, but I think that travel and vacations also present a really good opportunity to take a complete break from training and just take some time to relax, have a nice down week, because that's important too. And there's no better place to do that than when you're traveling. So I don't really have a race that I might want to do, but if I'm going traveling, sometimes it's nice to just kick back and relax.
Music to my ears. I like taking down weeks in the middle of doing nothing at home, so why not just do it on vacation, baby?
This is a question I have for you, Tyler. You're going to Brazil. Can you please share your training schedule for the time you're going to be in Brazil? Is there any workouts that are currently slotted from Coach Mike?
Nothing slotted as of yet, nothing official, but I know I will be doing some couple mile runs on the beach. We'll see how long those runs go for. But lucky for me, there's a gym on the premises, a very nice gym. So I'll definitely be hitting the weights either in the morning or when I'm bored, when everyone's taking that afternoon siesta, might have to hit the weights. So I'll for sure be hitting some of that, get jacked when I get back, you know how that goes. But for sure some gym, some minimal running, but I will try to get as much running as possible in just to clear the mind. It's always fun to do that. And don't tell anyone, but I'm sneaking the goggles in the suitcase. I got approval to sneak the goggles into the suitcase. So if there's no shark alerts, I'm going for an ocean swim or two.
That's very nice. Don't forget to listen to the advice we said in the last episode and do too much. You got to kind of have that steady increase in your training block. So just because you're not working this week, it doesn't mean you can spend 20 hours in the pool ignoring Juicy. You got to give that girl some attention.
True, that's my main focus. So that'll be my main activity is paying attention to the people I'm there with. But second very close second will be that regime that I'm trying to keep up. So we'll see.
Love it. Yeah. I almost every summer block, I have generally it's because of our portage trip, a week down week that's built into my block where it's just, I remove it. It's not like I start earlier. It's just I remove it and I know I'm going to still be moving, but it's no workouts or anything. And up to this date, it's, hasn't really hurt me, given me a time to recharge. Sometimes coming back to training plan, jumping right back in can be tough, but still manage to usually hit all my goals. So it's not going to hurt you in the long run, and you'll get lots out of it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of a mental side of things, right? Pressing pause and seeing that total load decrease in your charts and your progression and score. You're like, oh God, what did I do? I'm losing all my fitness. I'm a terrible person. But at the end of the day, like you said, the world keeps moving and you keep moving and grooving and going to your goals. So it's good.
Yeah, I agree. So, travel friendly gear. There's a ton of stuff that is available for athletes, but I'd like to know what your top travel essential is that you bring on vacation so that you can maintain fitness on the go.
I can kick this one off, and have already mentioned this, but it's merino, just apparel, a merino shirt, merino socks, and kind of a light, quick drying pair of shorts. It's nice to be able to, if it's nice hot weather, you'll need to pack a little bit more if you're going somewhere colder, but it's nice to be able to have not too much space, a small little nice rolled bundle that you can have in your suitcase where you can wear it for a workout, just kind of wash it in the hotel sink, something like that, or a laundromat if you're there for longer. And you don't need to have a bunch of this stinky gear in your pack. It's just one thing. You can kind of have like a plastic bag or like a packing cube to kind of keep it isolated.
I think I would go with, I don't know if this counts, but I really, when I'm packing for anything, when I'm going anywhere, I just want to make sure I have my watch and its charger. And again, I don't know if this counts, but I do love bringing my heart rate monitor wherever I go. So when I do have to squeeze in those quick workouts, I got to be strapped up or else it doesn't count. I like to see those metrics. I like to see the time. And it's also very interesting to see your sleeping metrics and your heart rate when you're away from your day-to-day normal life.
This whole episode, we're like, take it easy, take a step back. You don't need data when you're on essentials. Watch, heart rate monitor, just the data, baby.
I love it. It's true though. If you can't upload it to Strava, it didn't really happen. So, and how else are you going to tell all the followers that you're on vacation, Mr. Worldwide?
Exactly. And it's kind of a funny talking point too when you're getting zoned in to do some sort of activity and you strap up. People are like, people that you usually don't hang around with, what the heck is that? And then you get to show off your nice strap, so it's nice.
Yeah, for me, and this is one that I've had strapped to the back of my backpack since I can remember, is always a pair of running shoes. I do not travel without a pair of running shoes. No matter where you're going and what trip you're doing, it always seems that you spend the majority of your time on your feet. And whether you're actually running, hiking, or sitting in a gym at a beach vacation, I think running shoes are just a key part of your inventory that I wouldn't be able to live without on vacation.
Very true. That's another massive essential. I like it. I'll be bringing all of the above on my incoming trip. Maybe not merino. I might sweat a little bit with the merino, but definitely some moisture wicking gear. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you have laundry service there.
Little bit, yeah. I
Yeah.
got a little bit of services over there, so that should be nice.
That's nice.
I got a good one for you guys. I got one left here. We'll go around the room. Dream sporting trip. What is your, bucket list? No, don't think of money. Where you want to go, sport, vacation, with the boys. Go.
So whether this is with the boys or with the rascal, and you mentioned we have an unlimited budget, and that's key for this. because cycling is frickin' expensive. So I'm going flying out to Europe without bikes, and I'm going to rent some top of the line climbing bikes and hitting the Pyrenees. I hear all about these rich retired dentists in from North America going out and riding the best hills in Europe. And I would absolutely adore to try to bag some of the big climbs that you hear that the Tour de France riders are tackling. I think that would just be a beautiful trip. You see some of the shorts that are coming out of people riding out there, and it's just beautiful, beautiful weather, beautiful rides, and great coffee shops. So that's where I would want to be. I'd want to be in the hills of Europe on a bike with people I love.
You you stole the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly where I would like to be. An exact same thing.
Mine isn't necessarily going to be, well, it probably is a little bit expensive, but not nearly as crazy as you cycler man or biker mans, because you guys are a little excessive. But what I would love to do is, I've seen them, they're like adventure races where it's generally somewhere remote. I think they have them in like Quebec, but they're all over the world, where it's kind of like biking, but like mountain biking, trail running. Often they have like canoeing, kayaking, or some type of that. And you generally assemble a group of 4 people. And the whole thing is that you need to always stay together. So, like, it's not like, oh, Brian and Tyler are really good on the bike. They blast forward and then they can kind of start. Like, you need to stay together and get to each checkpoint together. But it's a bit more adventure focused, and often there's also some type of orienteering piece to it. So you get like a map and general, like, oh, this is where you need to go. But a lot of it is like figuring out the trails and stuff like that. So it really is like this crazy hard challenge, but just the perfect blend with adventure that I think would be really fun to do with a group of people.
I feel like we'd crush that. I think we'd be a good trio to start, and we'd get another bands going, and it'd be real nice.
Yeah, sign me up. I love the idea of that. And I even think that there was a link shared. Maybe it was Mark who sent it our way, but he shared a link to something similar to this, which was, again, trail running, mountain biking, and canoeing. And like you, Andrew's got some good experience in the woods, and I love orientation or orientating. I don't know.
Orienteering, yeah.
Orienteering. Yeah, it's just something that I would be super
This
interested in.
this guy's a big compass guy. He also always
I,
has a compass strapped to his back
I
when
do
he's
always have
traveling.
the compass. I'm the friggin' compass man on the portaging trips. So yeah, would be interested.
And you know me, I'd just be the meathead asking random questions to keep everybody at ease. So it'd be real nice. I'd just go out for a fun time and hopefully make it back.
Well, you play a crucial role. At some time, everyone's gonna be down in dumps and just be gonna go through that tough time, and you're the one that's gonna bring us back. The only issue is if you get into that slump, one of us is gonna have to step up. So that's the tricky balance we're gonna have to play with.
You know you could count on me to
Yeah,
just freak people out.
for sure. I think we need a little lasso rope around Ty. Keep him tied off to somebody else just so he has a buddy system.
I got a couple leashes, I'll bring one, and it'll be good.
Well, yeah, that's great. I think if there's any takers on joining our adventure team, just shoot us a DM. Where applications are open. So if you want to join our team, please reach out to us, and we'll make it happen at some point. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in for episode 27 of the Boys in Motion podcast. And whether you're hitting the beach, exploring a new city, or traveling for work, we hope these tips help you stay active and energized while you're soaking in the experience.
If you found this helpful and fun to listen to, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and join our Strava club. Don't forget to subscribe to our Spotify, Apple Podcast, and again, YouTube, so you're always in the loop on what's coming and what we have down the pipe.
Fantastic. Now remember that it's okay to relax and enjoy the ride. Training is about consistency over the long haul and not about perfection during every trip. So give yourself grace and keep moving forward. Lastly, we're not medical professionals, so do consult a doctor before taking any of our travel tip advice. to heart.
Stay adventurous, keep moving, enjoy that much needed time off, and we'll see you next time on The Boys in Motion.